Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 11th Tezos Town Hall. I'm Kryptonio from Tezos Commons, and today we'll be taking a closer look at the Seoul protocol upgrade, which has been live for a couple of weeks now. We'll be breaking down what it changed for bakers, stakers, and developers, and how it connects to the broader Tezos X vision. I'm joined by three amazing, I must say, guests from Nomadic Labs. Jan Regis Yanas, who is the head of engineering. Hi, Jan, welcome.
Hello.
We also have Zeina Dergaya, who is the core layer 1 engineering manager. How are you doing today, Zeina?
Very well. Hello. Nice to see you again.
Excellent. And last but not least, Vincent Poulen, who is the manager of technical user relations. How are you doing, Vincent?
Doing very good. Thank you. Hello, everyone. And thanks for having us, Kryptonio.
Absolutely excellent. So they will help us unpack the details and share their insights around the Seoul protocol upgrade. To start things off, Jan, can you give us a quick overview of the Seoul upgrade before we go into the details?
Yes, of course. Essentially, in the Seoul upgrade, you will find three main features. First one is called native multisig accounts. Second is aggregated attestations. And the third one is called open finalization for staking. So that's really technical. I mean, I don't know if people will understand what that means, but that's exactly the purpose of today's talk, right?
Amazing. Okay. So one of the headline features, and you mentioned it, is the native multisig accounts. Yes. Can you explain what they bring and why they are important, those multisig accounts?
So using multisig is a very common thing in the industry. Essentially, the point is to manage the risk of having a compromised key. That's one of the main things, but also simply to share the ownership of something important between several actors. It's especially important for institutions. So it's important to have support for that kind of way of managing accounts in a shared way. Now, the standard way of doing that is using smart contracts. That's the goal of smart contracts. You can program them and have any logic you want. The problem that we have on Tezos is that smart contracts are not do not have exactly the same rights as other accounts. They cannot stake, for instance, and that's the reason why you need a special form of accounts that can stake and also can be handled with a multisig. So that's why we introduced at the protocol level a notion of multisig account, and it's done thanks to a technology that we are super excited about. It is called BLS, and we will talk about it a bit more, especially with Zeina and Vincent a bit later.
Absolutely, yeah, we will get into BLS. So native multisig accounts, and we also have aggregated attestations that, as far as I know, reduce the network load. Can you explain how they work and what kind of improvements and are measurable maybe from the start?
So here we are with a feature that is not really a feature, to be honest. It's not something that will add an immediate value for users, because we are asking them to change, to move from one cryptographic scheme to another. So it's actually, it's not really a new feature, it's a change. It's a change, but a change for something very important for the Tezos protocol. It's our ability to exploit the BLS signature to reduce drastically the amount of information that you need to share as a baker with others on the network to be able to run the consensus algorithm. Okay, and to give you numbers, thanks to that kind of new signature, we can aggregate, we can compress, if you want, the amount of information from 900 megabytes per day to only 14. So it
Wow.
means that thanks to this change that we ask bakers to deal with, and we know it's a demand that we have. Actually, it's a huge value for Tezos because it means that we are optimizing by more than an order of magnitude the amount of information that is required to do the consensus. And the impact will be a more efficient consensus and then ability for us to even reduce even more time. So that's the point of this aggregated attestations. So yeah, so it's more of an improvement of the system and the new demands that we have on validators, but we know they are always supporting the protocol, and so we can make that kind of demands.
This is great. This is great. And yeah, I mean, it reduces the load more than 10 times. Wow. In just one go, right?
Yes.
Okay. So Seoul has been active for a couple of weeks now, and most bakers have already upgraded. Let's take a moment to review what has changed for bakers and also touch on what still needs to be done for anyone who hasn't fully updated yet. Zaina and Vincent, this section is for you. So maybe Vincent, you first. What are the key points for bakers? The key points that bakers need to understand about the switch to BLS signatures and proof of possession.
Well, the very first key point, probably the most important, is that baker have time. Baker have time to adapt and to adopt TZ4. Because when we speak about switch, this might raise concerns, and some bakers sometimes expressed a kind of concern regarding regarding a switch that could happen anytime. It's not the case. As Zaina says all the time, baker have time to adapt and adapt. And this being said, I think Zaina is the best qualified to refine this and to let us know about other key points.
Absolutely. Yeah, Zaina, would you like to chime in here?
Yeah, I will give it a try, to be honest. The first things to know is BLS signer is not what is a standard on market today. We are doing at Tezos, we are doing a bold choice here. And for that to work, this is why we insist on adapt and adopt time required on bakers. They don't have right now all the tooling enabling them to do it safely and to sign in a convenient performance time. And they also can continue to use the addresses they have today. So the changes will take time over several, maybe protocol. So what exists today is a change. We introduce a new addresses, which is TZ4. TZ4 is based on the cryptographic scheme of BLS with proof of possession scheme. Why? Because with that, you are able to have aggressive aggregation of signatures. So you're making several of them being just one signature. That said, in addition, as in Tezos, we have the DAL slot attestation, which is merged into attestation, consensus attestation. I make the distinction here. We needed a way to also compress, aggregate the slot attestations. For this, we introduce companion key, which is the mechanism that makes several DAL slots stand in one aggregated signature. making most space for attestation and more space for big aggregations. So this ToothWorks has been audited by another by Cossack Labs, and we are very proud of these two works here. And that said, I want to insist on the introduction nature of aggregated attestation in Seoul, because the works in the ecosystem to provide enough means to be able to sign it in a good conditions has just started. We have several initiatives right now for making out some solutions that are under testing, that are under prototyping, several leverage of maturity. In particular, we have one at Nomadic Labs, which is called the Tezos Raspberry Pi BLS Signer. This one, for this one, we want to collaborate with the community, so we warmly invite them to contribute, to test, and to provide feedback.
Amazing. I should also mention that we have put a QR code up here in the video for those who are interested in the companion key to find it easily. So there were also some changes to the DAL incentive, some tweaks, I think. Why was it important to change the DAL incentives, and what does that mean in practice?
In practice, the formula was correct. The logics behind the why it's happened was correct, because we wanted to provide this rewards, remember, at the start of Rio to every bakers. But there was a weird situations where even in an inactive bakers has rewards for DAL. So we make more sense, actually. That's it.
So for the active ones, okay. Okay, now let's look at what Seoul changes for stakers. And I'm going to you, Vincent. I deliberately left the open finalization that Jan mentioned at the beginning to ask about it in this section. So open finalization, what does it mean for the everyday stakers?
Well, Seoul brings a new feature that allows any user to finalize an unstake request once it becomes finalizable. Any unstake request. Previously, only the original requester could do so. And this is what we call the open finalization. You, Kryptonio, can finalize an open request, an unstake request, sorry, that I requested. And it comes with something else that is outside the protocol, a tool, so, which is called Fin. And Fin takes advantage of this new feature. It leverages it, to address a frequent pain point that we often hear about. This pain point is that users sometimes forget to finalize their unstake request, or simply don't know how to do it because it's yet another button to click in a wallet or something like this. Well, sometimes it complicates the user experience. So what Fin does is that it browses the unstack request and finalizes whatever can be finalized. We sometimes calls it the one-click finalization, which is exactly this. So Fin is a robot. It's an automated off-chain process that browses the request, as we have just seen. And it runs as a common good infrastructure component. In that sense, it's a bit similar to what the watchtower of Etherlink does to finalize the withdrawal for those who know about Etherlink. And the important thing with Fin is that it pays its own gas. So this means that users don't have to pay for their finalization. It's already taken in charge by Fin.
Okay, so
sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, just one thing. Fin is live, and it's been running since cycle 999.
Nice. So has it already finalized a bunch of operations or a bunch of accounts that haven't finalized?
Absolutely, yeah, it did. And the first finalized request was right after the activation of Seoul, 3 days after, if I'm not mistaken, which was the expectation.
Excellent. So just to make sure that I understand it correctly and the viewers as well, beforehand, before Seoul, when you unstaked, you had to wait the 4 days of the period of the lockup period. Then you had to go and manually finalize the unstaking. And now what you are saying is that there is a robot, Pin, who basically scans the network and does the finalization for us, so we don't have to do it anymore, right? So we just have to unstake and then wait the period.
Absolutely, but the way you say, the way you put it is better.
No, thank you. And
if I may jump in on this topic, just to make a remark. You are here in a situation where you have a protocol, a blockchain protocol, where for security reasons, for the simplicity of the protocol, we need to have that kind of operations that are not immediate after the action of the user. And here we could have two choices. Either just say, well, it's the responsibility of the user, or to consider the UX as something important and say, okay, we need to compensate this problem that we have, and that we also have for smart rollups, for instance. When you withdraw something from a smart rollup, you have to wait 2 weeks. Imagine saying to a user, put a reminder of your on your watch or smartphone and come back in 2 weeks to finalize this.
Not ideal.
That's not acceptable, not ideal.
Yeah.
So we kind of realize more and more that actually when you develop a blockchain, if you want to add the good UX to it, you need to have that kind of services that are around and doing things that you don't want user to do. So that's here. That's exactly the point of Fin. And actually, we already do it on Etherlink with the Watchtower with withdraw. You withdraw and you don't have to come 2 weeks afterwards. Even today with the fast withdrawal is even better. But that's the kind of service that actually change significantly the UX. And we try to be to be very conscious and to make an effort on that side, because that's key.
Yeah, you have to have the best UX possible to have adoption, because otherwise it won't happen. But on that note, how will the experience change on stake.tezos.com? That's where I went to stake and unstake and do everything I need around staking. How will the experience change there and inside the wallets, maybe?
Well, StakeTezos.com has been redesigned further to Seoul so that it doesn't include finalization workflow anymore. And we also removed reference to manual finalization from its documentation. Of course, should any issue happen with Fin, these changes can be reverted. So as of today, it's as if and this is actually the case, finalization was completely taken in charge transparently for the user, so that the UX, the user experience, is simplified. But we still know that a boat is an option process that can fail, even though it's unlikely. So we can revert that change anytime should an incident happen. This is unlikely, but this cannot be ignored.
Excellent. Yeah, so talking about stakers and wallets, I think that native multisig also applies here. What are the benefits for delegators and stakers around the native multisig?
Well, before Seoul, you could implement a multisig, but it was requiring implementing a smart contract, which was, by the way, unable to stake. So there was a use case, and there is still a use case for it. DAOs, for example, decentralized autonomous organization, often use that. But now, with the native multisig, we go one step further. Delegation, staking, managing a baker are natively handled. You can do that with the native multisig, which means that you can implement end-of-end signature, what we call signature aggregation, which means that all parties involved in the multisig must agree on the operation, all of them. But you can also implement what we call a M of N, or a threshold signature. For example, 5 out of 9 signature holder must agree to do this operation. Two different use cases, majority for the second, and absolute unanimity for the first. And this way, you have something very suitable for managing common goods with organizations, formal or informal, stuff like this. So this
Treasury,
is sorry.
to manage treasuries as well. Maybe.
Absolutely, exactly, stuff like this. This is designed to make multisig native, handled by the protocol itself, without any need for a smart contract, that kind of bug, anything, and with the ability to stake. And this is very, very, very important.
Amazing. Okay, so now let's shift to the developer side of Seoul. Jan, Seoul included changes aimed at improving the performance on L1, right? From your perspective, what do this mean in practice, and how do they set things up for the future?
Okay, so it's as I've said earlier. Here, I mean, the general context again is that we are simplifying as much as possible the L1, optimizing it, making it more secure. Okay, that's what we do today. The L1 is a settlement layer of the Tezos X big picture. Okay, so if you want to move fast, you cannot really at the same time have to distribute a lot of data. Okay, you need to find ways to simplify the distribution of data. And what is nice with BLS, and maybe actually we should have started by explaining that, the fact that with the standard non-BLS, non-aggregable signature, you have to check every signature as a validator. If you have, let's say, 1,000 transactions, you have to check, or signed operation, you have to check each of them. Okay. What is nice with BLS is the fact that you can aggregate the signature so that at the end of the day, the validator only has to check one signature. That's a compression.
Still as secure.
And it's as secure. So essentially what is happening is that outside of the protocol, in the mempool, in the system that is, all this networking aspect that is actually distributing the information, at the same time, we are aggregating signature so that at the end of the day, you compress the information that needs to be checked. And this notion of compression is actually very important, because not only it's important to optimize the consensus, as the glorious developer of the L1 has been able to do, because it's actually it's not that easy to organize the work so that aggregation happens. But we won't enter into these details today. It's actually quite a challenge. It has been quite a technical challenge. But the very same idea can be reused to scale, because when you want to deal with 1 million transactions per second, as we want to do with Tezos X, you cannot check 1 million signature per second. Even with, I mean, of course you can do it with a very large machine, etc. But if you want also to limit the amount of information needed to validate your rollup, for instance, BLS is excellent, because you can aggregate and just check one signature. So it's a way to scale too. So understanding how to use BLS is not only excellent to improve our beloved L1 protocol, but it's also preparing us for the canonical rollup vertical scalability that we discussed so many times. And this BLS will also be very important at this level. So for me, it's a big milestone, a very important milestone that we have been able to reach here, because we have shown how to exploit BLS. TZ4 have been there for a long time, actually. We
Okay.
introduced them a long time ago, but the implementation was not, the design was not very well understood. And so what has changed with Seoul is the fact that now the core devs have this expertise and will be able to exploit it not only for the protocol but for the Tezos X roadmap in general. So that's why I'm super excited about it. Again, I said it twice at least today, but I hope the message is clear.
It's worth it. It's worth it. I mean, yeah.
And it's true, it's bleeding edge. BLS is bleeding edge. The industry is not ready yet. Okay.
I was gonna ask, like, why doesn't anybody else do it? But yeah.
No. Actually,
doing it.
other competitors are starting to use it, and so I'm pretty confident that BLS will be supported at some point by ledgers and other hardware stuff, etc. And the industry needs to move to some kind of cryptographic signature scheme if we want to scale efficiently. So I'm confident. But it's true that we are bold, but well, that's what we do, right?
Absolutely. There were also new APIs and Michelson updates in this upgrade. What should developers know about them, and how might they affect tooling or applications?
Well, on this very specific case, it's really some changes that have been a long time we wanted to push on Michelson. So you may know that Michelson has been more or less stabilized in the last couple of years, and we start to reactivate Michelson evolution, because now TezLink is almost ready, so it's the right time to reactivate Michelson roadmap. And his implicit account is one instruction. There will be a very nice one in the next protocol. Let me keep it that way to keep the surprise for everyone, but a very, very good one, in my opinion. For RPCs, it's simply the obvious extension of the RPCs to be able to give, again, the best UX, to make the companion keys and the evidence, the proofs usable in practice to do multisig, for instance. So that's what we have, and we expect that now tool developers will be able to, for instance, provide a nice UX to set up multisig accounts. And we have been documenting how to use these RPCs to conduct all the necessary steps to set up a multisig account, because it's not completely trivial. You need to do something between the participants so that they share the same secret, but not exactly the same secret, all of them. So it's something a bit technical, and we believe that tool developers will be able to cope with that complexity and offer the best UX to users.
Excellent. Okay, so we've talked about Seoul on its own terms. Let's now place it in the bigger picture of the Tezos X. And then I want to come back to you. How does Seoul connect with the broader Tezos X vision and the direction the protocol is heading?
So just simply provide better finality for bridges and elements that have to run in the applicative layers. It's also opened the doors to this better finality, of course. It would not be from Seoul, but is Seoul the first step for that, sorry. And At the same time, with this aggregation of attestations, we will also improve security and be like all baker could attest all book. We are working on that under certain conditions to keep this idea that bakers we will have time to adapt and adapt, but that is coming. So broader security, this is a settlement layer after all. So broader security, fast finality for bridges and other elements in this way for all what is called settlement. We also Seoul was there also to respond to some UX questions around staking, which is the economic security of the settlement layers. With this ultimate goal to have a staking ratio to 1% to 50%, sorry, and a 1% of inflation. That will enable, we think, encourage more applications than just be there for security. I think
Awesome.
that's the 2 points I have in mind.
Okay, yeah, it totally makes sense. Okay, so we are coming towards the end here in terms of time, but I do want to ask if there is anything you think we left out, anything we should mention before we wrap up. Vincent or Jan, do you think there is anything that we didn't cover? I think we did a good job covering all three of the main upgrades of Seoul, but I just want to give you the chance to say if there is anything you feel we left out. No?
I just want to say, can I?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
go ahead. Nina.
We are starting to working on the next protocol. More than starting, actually, we're just starting the campaign around the feature we have and we wanted to put in this proposal. And we want to do it with the community as usual and get feedback. So stay tuned. Follow the link to Tezos Agora and come and discuss.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so as we close, let's quickly recap what Seoul has brought. Native multisig for teams, aggregated attestations that make the protocol leaner, and automatic unstake handling with Fin, right? So for bakers, it introduced BLS and the companion key that we have put a QR code up there for people that are interested to check it out. While for stakers, it also simplified the overall experience with Fin. Developers also gained the new APIs and the Michelson updates that are already in use. Yeah, so I think that's it. This upgrade was another important step, as we mentioned, for the Tezos roadmap, the Tezos X roadmap, and ties directly into the broader vision of it. So I want to say a big thank you to Jan, Zaina, and Vincent for sharing their insights. And of course, a huge thank you to everyone who joined us today and that tuned in and gave us their time. As Susanna mentioned, discussions have already started around the next protocol upgrade proposals. So if you'd like to take part, definitely check out the Tezos Agora forum and provide the feedback that helps so much. And for more details on Seoul itself, make sure you check the upgrade notes and baker guides. And we'll see you all at the next town hall. So yeah, take care, everybody.